Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are going to be talking about the meta for February 2018 post the ban list. Now I'm going to do some more meta discussion talks on this channel so you guys get a sense for what's happening in the meta and things of that nature. I do play the meta off and on. Right now I'm not because I don't own Ghost Ashes. We're evenly matched and I'm not investing money in those cards until they get reprinted, but for the most part, I do keep my hands in the cookie jars and I know what's going on and what different decks are topping and everything. So we do have YCS Atlanta coming up in a couple of days, I guess you could say, a few days. And that, I think, eventually will solidify what is the top tier decks of the format to some degree. After the post the ban list fallout, you're going to notice that a lot of players out there don't know what's the best deck. Everybody out there says that Trickstars is by a majority consensus the best deck, but people are also finding out that Magician Pendulums and the Magician archetype is still not dead. It's really not. Even after they banned Irish Magician and Skullcrobat Joker, you still have Electromite, and Electromite is a great link monster to help go for your different combo plays in a link-based deck. So for the most part, Magicians, if we could take a look at the OCG for a moment, you'll notice that they've already had Skullcrobat Joker at 1 of, and that deck still functions. So people are incorporating different concepts and ideas into their Magician decks. So pretty much I've seen people in the OCG, what they've done, and what some people in the TCG are starting to lean towards, is running the Zark engine. The Zark engine has very wide scales. It gives you a lot of different versatility with what you're going to go for in your plays and combos. So some people out there are putting the Zark engine into the Magician Pendulums. Not everybody, but some people, and some people are still continuing to play the Magician Pendulums in a certain way, with running tech cards in the deck. The one thing you should take away from this is you still want to run anti-spell fragrances in your extra deck if you are going into a meta or a regional or a YCS or whatever, because you will see Magician Pendulums. The second deck I was talking about earlier is Trickstars. Now Trickstars is a deck that people originally with post the ban list who thought that for the most part Magicians were dead, gone, buried, gone away, bye-bye. No, they're not. They're just less powerful, but they're still being played and are probably going to be one of the best tier decks, one of the top tier decks of the format. Trickstars is the second fiddle, or could possibly, depending upon the fallout from YCS Atlanta eventually, which is I think the next YCS coming up, may become the best deck of the format. Now Trickstars with Reincarnation, Drill and Lock combo, you guys know all that stupid stuff it can do with activate Reincarnation, chain Drill and Lock. You have jazz hands! No cards in your hand, sir. So you know those stupid plays it can do. The one thing I should mention to you guys is I would still pick up the Trickstar stuff. The reason for this being the fact that if you look at the OCG, they've had Reincarnation for 1 of for a couple of months now. And Trickstars are still a meta viable option over in the OCG. And this is because Trickstars have gone from a burn-based deck to a link spam deck. So if you want to build Trickstars, pick up your stuff. If you just want to build the deck, you hate the deck, and you just don't like the burn aspect of the deck, that is fine. But if you own it, keep it, because it's going to, even if Reincarnation gets hit in the next ban list or whatever, keep the deck, because that deck will still function in the link era, because if they, as long as they just hit Reincarnation, if they just hit Reincarnation to 1, that stops all the burn and stupid stuff with Drill and Lock, everybody's happy, and it becomes a link spam deck. That's what it's going to become once we get the other Trickstar monsters. Some other decks that people are talking about for the format is Zombie Light Swarms could be good. You also have your Invoke decks that are being played in different variations of Invoke. People are really talking about Stun making a comeback to different Stun decks, because we have Torrential Tribute at 3, which is amazing. You have Bottomless Trap Hole in back. You also have Inspector Border, which recently came out of the new set, which is a great stun card. And we have the King of Stun himself, who is back. We have 3 Thunder King back in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Plus we have Solemn Judgment, which is an amazing stun card on its own. So stun in different forms and incarnations will probably see play you will probably see older school players flocking to these old stun decks and trying to come up with their own stun variations with the new defined meta. What will top? What will be the best stun deck of the format? That is yet to be seen from what I've seen so far. But if you do have any deck lists or anything, please let them down in the comment description below where you can find these said videos. So those are some of the decks that people are talking about. Invoke, another good deck with True Draco. True Draco, being on its last legs, is still a good deck and is being played with Invoke and being thrown in different engines. I've even seen some players even teching in Zodiac cards. So you may see a resurgence to some degree of Zodiacs. Not with, because Borreload and all that stuff is banned with Rapier. Not Rapier, but like Dryden or gone, so you don't have to worry about that. But everything else, you may see like little engines here and there. Speaking of one of the main decks that got banned, Spirals, you'll probably see Spirals still running about. They won't be as powerful or as consistent by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a cheap deck to build now. And if we've paid any attention to the OCG, people are still teching in different Spiral cards in little decks. I've seen rank 4 spam decks teching in different Spiral cards. And Spirals in general are still going to be played, but they're not going to be as powerful and consistent. So you have to pay attention to that, but you may see the deck make a somewhat play in casual competitive play as a tier 2 option. So you may still see it around. So those are pretty much the main competitive decks that I've been noticing that people are talking about seeing play. Like I said, Invoke, True Draco, people have been talking about Mermails, Zombie Light Swarm variations with Minerva because we have the new Minerva card, and another deck to speak of with that has gotten new Link support in the recent set is Gym Knights. People want to play Gym Knights a lot lately, I've been noticing. Be it people at my locals with like Pee-wee or Alex, and people just in general. If you've been paying into Gym Knight Armadillo and just other Gym Knight cards, they've been going up in price a lot because people really like the deck. A, for its nostalgia because they like Dual Terminal and they just like the deck, or B, because can be played as an FTK deck, and it's just the Link monster is pretty good. So people are playing Gym Knights. So keep that in mind. You may run into a Gym Knight deck. So those are the cards that are the decks that are seeing play. Now, what are some good side deck choices as we go into the part 2 of this video that you can go into? So some of the cool things you can go into for your side deck is Anti-Spell Fragrance. If you're running against Pendulum Magicians or the original deck that it was the Link Monster was supposed to be used for. I'm having a brain fart here at the moment. But yes, the other Link decks out there pretty much. You may see other Link decks be played with the new Link monster for Pendulums. I'm having a brain fart at the moment. I do apologize. I said it earlier in the video, but now I'm forgetting when you talk so much. So, Anti-Spell Fragrance, good side deck card going into the format. So if you can side deck it, side deck it. You may want to side deck your Light Imprisoning Mirrors in case you run against different Light Swarm variations because of Curious, the Link monster. People are playing, like I said, people are playing Light Swarms. They love Light Swarms. Light Swarms never die. And so because of that reason, you may want to run Light and Dark Imprisoning Mirrors or something of that nature, depending upon your deck and what deck you're playing. Some other, like I said, other things that people are playing, your Invokes, everything, you can side deck what you want to for that. But there are a lot of different cards out there that are being played at the moment. So, for the most part, Anti-Spell Fragrance is good for hitting multiple decks out there to slow them down or halt them in what they're doing, to make them come down to a crawl. Even if you play against an Evoke deck, you technically can play Anti-Spell Fragrance to slow them down for going for their fusions. Thus, you get time to build up your board. So, Anti-Spell Fragrance heading into the new format, I really feel like you should run as a 3-of in your side deck if you can fit it and you're not playing one of these meta-defined decks. Some other cards that are seeing play, you have your Drill and Lock combos. So people are playing Drill and Locks just because it stops all the searching. You see people not shying away a little bit from Ghost Ogre, but people are still playing Ghost Ogres in their main or side deck. And you have Ash Forehead, which is being played. So if you have Ash Forehead, run it. Evenly Matched is also being played in the side deck a lot. So if you own Evenly Matches, go ahead and run that. I have seen people that are running less competitive builds, less competitive decks, playing Evenly Matched as well. So you may see Evenly Matched in the main deck or sideboard. For a general consensus, these are the side deck cards that I've been seeing play overall for the most part, but people also have their kaiju engine that they put in their side deck as well because it just helps get around random stuff they're facing at locals, regionals, YCSs, whatever they face against. The kaiju engine is good side deck as well. So you're going to see all these different side deck cards and probably some other ones I did not mention seen play heading into the new format. I should mention that I don't know when it's coming out necessarily, but I believe it's coming out in March, excuse me. You will be seeing things like Gamma, and you may be seeing Gamma in the side deck as well, especially when the reprint comes out in the next set, as well as the anti-hand trap card Designator from the Grave, which will be coming out in March. But we'll talk about that when March comes around. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully it was informal. It helped you understand what's going on in the meta, what's happening, what's going on, what decks am I planning to face. We will probably make another video, hopefully a little bit after YCS Atlanta, after the format gets more defined. But because we had a ban list, I want to talk about what people are talking about, what could be good, what could be great. In general, just a little synopsis of the last week and a half since the ban list came out. So till next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this meta talk discussion. See you guys next time. Good luck dueling to all of you, and may the Yu-Gi-Oh gods favor you in the next duel.